Welcome to All Things Woman, where we discuss femininity, womanhood, and overall life advice. If any of that interests you, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. This is my second live on this channel, and I just wanted to come on to kind of explain to you all exactly what this channel is all about and the reason why I created the channel. So I'm going to allow a few of you to come in here. I know it's 4 o'clock, so some people might be getting off of work or some people might be doing other things, but hey, you can catch it later. But I just wanted to come on to discuss a little bit about what this channel is all about and my goal for this channel and what I'm looking to build here, because it's bigger than just the YouTube channel. Okay, best believe that. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So here at this channel, I created this channel not just for femininity, but for womanhood in general. We have an epidemic of women that are leaning so much more on their masculine side today that I wanted to create a platform where the women that are still in their femininity, or the women who desire to be in their femininity, can showcase themselves. It seems like today masculine women are being highlighted and pushed to the forefront, while us feminine women, us women who are more traditional, are kind of sitting off on the sideline. And for me, that kind of needs to stop. We need to stop being afraid to be seen and putting our point of view out there, and we need to be comfortable coming to the forefront. We have to stop worrying about whether or not we fit in. If you are a divinely feminine woman, you will never fit in, and that is a good thing. You should not be trying to fit in with anybody to begin with. So that's one of the reasons why I created this channel, because we need to highlight a different demographic of women than what you're seeing today. You're seeing women that all look the same, have the same BBLs, have the same type of plastic surgery. They're wearing the same type of lace front wigs. They're desiring to be in the same kind of relationships with the same type of man. They say they have the same vain and shallow qualifications for a relationship. And my goal is to highlight what real love can look like, to highlight what real respect can look like in a marriage, in a relationship, and to help women to elevate not just in how they look, but how they act, how they speak, how they think. I take a more holistic approach to femininity. While many people will tell you the first step in becoming more feminine is to change your wardrobe, which is nothing wrong with that. I also encourage that too. It doesn't start there. It starts with the mindset of the type of woman you want to become. If you have the same junky mindset, but you wear better clothing and move to a different area code, you're just going to take that same ratchet mindset off into the suburbs, off into a relationship with the man that you might catch, but you won't be able to keep, because your intellect won't allow you to stay in that good relationship. If a woman is conditioned to be in a toxic relationship, she won't recognize a good man when she sees it. She won't recognize a healthy situation when she sees it, because she is so accustomed to drama and turmoil. I've heard some women say that their spouse was so calm and so cool in the beginning, they thought it was something wrong with them because they weren't toxic. They weren't always arguing. They weren't drama filled. They weren't getting them caught up in situations that they shouldn't have been in, because that's what they were accustomed to. And many women who haven't had father figures or fathers in their homes, they don't really understand what it is to be in the presence of a masculine man. Now, here in this channel, we do not decenter men. The opposite of the feminine is the masculine. So a lot of times when I speak, I will be speaking in regards to the feminine and the masculine dynamic. I don't believe that your femininity is something that you just have just for yourself. It is for yourself. However, the way I believe, because I'm a divinely feminine woman, I believe things according to spirituality. I believe that God created the man for the woman. So we work together. We are equal in the way we were created, but we are not equal in our roles. Number one, that's how I believe and see things. So a lot of what you will see on this channel is me coming from that perspective. We do not decenter men. On this channel, we absolutely love and adore men, and we do not desire to compete with them. I teach women that you don't need to compete with a man. That should not be your goal and focus. The reason why a lot of women are suffering with the different ailments that they're suffering from, the different health issues, the different, mental and physical illnesses, is because they're out here trying to go just as hard as men. And we were not created to be that way. Trust me, I understand that it can be hard to get out of that mindset because I used to be that way. I had the anything you can do, I can do better. And I'm not saying that there aren't some things that you can't do better than a man. There are some things that, you are more gifted in than what he is gifted in. But, and I'm not coming from a standpoint of lowering yourself in order for him to shine brighter. It's not about that. It's about elevating him so you don't have to work as hard. Trust me. Now, I understand to some people this might have went left, but I believe in elevating the man so that way he can carry the load while you can relax. I believe that a woman's place is to nurture and care and love on the people in her life, not to do back-breaking work and harm and hurt her mental and physical well-being. So in that regard, I believe we should elevate men and encourage them to their greatest potential so that they can do all the heavy lifting while we relax. That is the standpoint I'm coming from. I understand. I believe a lot of things that I'm more gifted in than my husband. But if he has the ability to do it even halfway, you do that because that's going to allow me to rest. So when I speak that way, I'm not talking as if we should put a man up on a pedestal and make it seem like he's just the greatest thing ever. If you genuinely love your husband, love your man in your life, you will feel that way. But in a way, it's kind of selfish. In a good way. You encourage and elevate him as a man so that you can rest as a woman. And I think a lot of women have gotten their emotions and their feelings all caught up in saying, well, I'm not going to pander to no men, this new movement of decentering men and all this kind of stuff. You're missing the point. The more you can encourage that man to his greatness and to be the kind of man he should be, he should already know that. But the more as women that we encourage men to be the soldiers, the less soldiering we will have to do. And that's where women don't understand it. They feel like, okay, if I encourage him, it's like a hit against their pride. And a lot of women are allowing their pride to cause them to suffer, all because they don't want to encourage or stroke an ego of a man. How hard is it to say, you're doing a great job, honey. I love when you do that. I think you work so hard for our family, and I know you work hard for our family, and I appreciate that. That's not pandering. That is encouraging him so that way you can actually be at ease and rest. There's nothing wrong. I will stroke my husband's ego all day long if I need to, if that causes me to have to work less hours and do less stuff around the house. Absolutely, I will. So when I'm talking about encouraging your husband, encouraging the man in your life and being more of a woman, being more feminine, I'm not talking about doing it because you're trying, like you lack confidence. There's so many women that have so many skills, talents, and abilities. They have the motivation and skills to make so much money, to create conglomerates and to create legacies and all this different stuff. You do that. But don't do it in a way that will cause you to hurt yourself when you have a man in your life that can do it. That's my point of saying that. And I'm not coming from a place of judgment. I'm coming from a place of experience because I was that way. I still have drive. I still have motivation. I created multiple businesses and I know how to create money and do what I need to do. However, I'm no longer doing it from a place as if I absolutely have to, or if I don't, this is not going to work. Because I understand that when I get out of order, that puts strain and stress on my body, and that causes my relationship to be out of alignment. And as feminine women, we have to be in alignment with the natural order and structure that God set up for us. God didn't set up for us to do the back-breaking hard labor, going in the paint kind of thing like the men are. Now, if you choose to do that, that's fine. There's a difference between choosing to do something and having to do something. And many women are in the position of having to do something because they are picking men that are just as feminine as they would like to be. And when you are choosing a man that is just as feminine as you would like to be, you won't be able to rest in your femininity and actually tap into their creative side of yourself, because now you are pushed into the leadership role because you're with somebody that doesn't understand the difference between a man and a woman. I think right now that is the hot topic. The whole world really doesn't understand the difference between a man and a woman. And it's not to say that women can't work hard and all of this stuff. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that a woman's first job is to encourage and inspire the men to be out in the forefront, not you. You being out there was never the way it was meant to be. And I think we just need to get back to the time when women were more soft and more gentle, and they didn't just talk and speak and act like savages. Today, you got women that don't know how to have manners. They don't have any class, don't have any decorum, have a lot of money, making money and doing different things, but nasty, rude in their speech. It's just really kind of all out of line. So when I make these videos, I'm making these videos because I'm trying to encourage and inspire women to be who they desire to be, or who they might be thinking they never could be, because society has shaped women to believe that we have to be so hard all the time, especially as black women. Society has shaped us so much so into thinking that we must be hard in order to be seen. We must be just like a man in order to be seen and to be felt and to be heard. But when you realize that you don't have to operate that way in order to prove your value as a woman, that your very presence and the way you treat people and your kindness and your nurturing and your grace, these are all character traits. These are not things that you're doing. These are character traits. When you realize that the character of the woman can make the impact the most, that's when you begin to lean back and fall in alignment with the way things are supposed to be. Many women are operating from the place of thinking that they have to prove their value by everything they're doing. You got some women who are going to school, going to work, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're taking care of kids, they're taking care of their men, doing more than what they should be doing for them. And in the process, they're breaking down their bodies. It was never meant to be that way. And in the struggle Olympics of life, these women are getting some kind of trophies thinking that they're going to get claps on the back and that they're being honored because they are breaking themselves down. And I know back in the day, I wouldn't say so much like the 40s and the 50s, because the 40s, 50s, 60s, the women were still kind of, feminine and, kind of more nurturers at home, being taken care of, those kind of things. But the 70s and on, that's when women began to feel like, okay, I need to compete with the man because I got to prove I can climb the ladder and do what he's doing. And in leadership and business, there's nothing wrong with working hard. But when you start placing your value on those things, when you don't know who you are apart from those things, that's when you've gotten out of touch with God and yourself as a woman. And these are all my opinions, of course. But this is just the way I see it because of how things are today. You have women that are looked down on and frowned upon because they decided to be more of traditional women. They want to be a stay-at-home mom. They want to be a stay-at-home wife. Their first job, their first ministry is to their husband, to their family. They're not the go-getters out here trying to just, grab at every career opportunity because they feel like them shaping the lives of their children is most important to them. And it's nothing wrong with that. Bear in mind, I say this, but I work. But the first few years of my children's life, I think I stayed home until they were my son was 7 years old before I got a part-time job working at Kmart at night. I would work maybe like 3 or 4 nights a week when my husband came home. But for the first 7 years of his life and 5 years of my daughter's life, I was home with them. Because I felt and I believed from God that my first job was to be with them at home. And I had trust issues. I didn't trust these daycares to take care of my kids. Nobody could take care of my kids the way I could. And I had those kind of issues where I just felt like if my kids can't speak well enough to tell me what's going on, they don't need to be there. So I say that to say that there's nothing wrong with wanting to be more of a traditional feminine woman. And even if you're not a mom, even if you're not a wife, just tapping into your femininity and getting closer to the core essence of who you are as a woman for yourself. Even if you're single, you will attract a different type of man when you are more in touch with your femininity. When you don't carry yourself like a savage and use constant slang and talk like you're uneducated and, talk about things that are foolish. you will begin to attract men that are on the level you desire to be or already on. You won't be attracting the dust bucket men that have nothing good intended for you except to get between your legs. You'll have something more valuable to give than just that. So this video, my second live, a little bit of a rant, but I just wanted to make it clear and understandable of what I do here. And I also coach women too and encourage them in their confidence level, because you all might not know, but you should know that when you're trying to make a change in life, there are going to be people trying to come against you every angle, trying to get you to feel like, oh, so now you think you're better. Oh, now you're trying to do this. It's like people will praise you as long as you're trying to be mediocre and blend in with everybody else. But the moment you want to do something different, that's when you're going to get attacks on every side. And the way I believe that's more of a spiritual thing than anything. I believe that the moment you're trying to do better and be better, that's when the enemy comes into attack. And he will send anybody to do it. It can be your own family members, your own cousin, aunts, whoever. Most of the time with women, it's other women that come against them because they're starting to see that you're trying to elevate. Like, oh, you don't want to just sit around and gossip no more? Oh, you don't want to just sit around and drink no more? You're not going to the clubs with us? You're not doing this? You're not going to pull up with us to go fight this girl no more? No, because I'm a woman. I'm a feminine woman. I'm a classy woman. I have class. I have spirituality. I have a relationship with God. I don't have time for this foolishness anymore that you're doing. And when you develop that mindset, there are going to be people that are going to look at you as if you're now their enemy because you're trying to do the right thing. All because you're trying to live an elevated life and have an elevated way of thinking. There are going to be people that come against you and think that, oh, you're trying, especially for us, they're going to think, oh, you're trying to be white now. You're trying to be like somebody else. And honestly, you are trying to be like somebody else. You're trying to be a better version of who you already are. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I encourage women to be confident, because when you try to make a change, people are going to attack you on every side. You might get a promotion at your job, and all of a sudden people are going to start treating you as if, oh, we used to like you when you was like us, but now you start acting different since you became the boss. And you probably are still the exact same way. You're probably still very kind, except now you have authority and you have to enforce different rules, but they can't receive it from you because they're used to you being on the same level as them. And even though you've given them no reason to feel like you're coming against them, they will become threatened because now you're moving on in the company. You're doing something different. So these are the kind of things you really have to watch out for when you become a more feminine and confident woman. When you start having validation from within, when you get closer to God, and your validation no longer comes from the people, but it comes from God. And because of that, you realize, okay, even if people don't praise me, I still know who I am. Even if people are not constantly giving me pats on the back, I can still walk past a mirror and know that I'm beautiful. Even if I'm not in a relationship right now, I still know that I'm worthy of a good person. Even if nobody's around me at the moment, I know that I'm never alone. Even if nobody can go out to dinner with me tonight, I don't take that as a personal hit against me. I didn't do anything. I'm a great person. They're just busy. Or maybe they don't want to go with me. But there's more where that came from. It's like the mindset changes when you become less worldly and more of a divine feminine woman. When you begin to understand that your validation comes from God alone, and that any exterior validation you get is just icing on the cake, so to speak, where you appreciate it, but you don't absolutely need it to stay grounded in who you are as a woman. That is like the most dangerous spot you can be in with other people. When you no longer need their validation, that's when people will start to have a problem with you. That's when your circle will become small. You might have 10 friends, and the moment you become more confident and don't need so-and-so and them to prop you up all the time, that's when your circle might become very small. And you as a feminine woman, as a confident woman, you have to become okay with that. Because it can be a lonely road when you are choosing to either lean into your femininity, when you're trying to elevate as a woman. It can be very lonely for a moment, or you might feel alone, because you will have people around you. The people that used to be around you won't be around you anymore because you've changed. You're not doing the same kind of things. And that's when you have to really ask God to show you who to be around. And the people that are meant to be around you, they will be there. But the ones who were used to your toxic era, your phase of life where you were just going along to get along and now you have a standard, those people are going to trickle off and you might be lonely for a time. And it's okay. I went through that too. As long as I was constantly going with the flow of everything and tolerating every negative thing that somebody was throwing at me, I was perfectly fine. I had a lot of company. I had a lot of people around me because they knew at any moment I would just be okay doing whatever ratchet, negative thing or talk about whatever they wanted to talk about. But the moment I decided, you know what, I don't want to deal with that kind of thing because it brings me unease. It doesn't bring me peace in my life. It doesn't bring me joy to do these kind of things. Now them people cipher off, and that's fine. And you know how you can keep your mind together when things like that happens? By staying in the Word of God. I'm a follower of Jesus, so that I'm sure that's clear from many of my videos. And while I'm not going to force what I believe on anybody, but I do believe you should have some kind of grounding in your life, as in have a relationship with God, because when you do, you're not so pressed when things in the world happen and when people, quote, let you down, because your expectation is not so much from them, it's from God anyway. God will use the right person, the right man, the right job, whoever, to bless you and to help you and to encourage you and to nurture you in your time of need. You don't have to be a desperate Betty going out here doing everything to try to fit in. You don't have to go out here and fix your face and, put plaster inside of your backside and all these different things to try to make yourself look a certain way so that you can fit in with them. Most of the time, people who do those things, they're doing those things because they are not happy with themselves. And even after they get the augmentations that they end up looking worse than what they looked before and still not happy because they're not getting the responses that they wanted. So you really have to be mindful of how much you let the culture influence you, especially as black women, because they're trying to make us all into carbon copies of one another. So when they come across a feminine woman of color, a black woman, and you're not speaking all obnoxiously and you're not being all loud and boisterous and you're more reserved and soft-spoken, they're looking at you like you are some kind of oddball because they're not accustomed to a black woman acting this way. Like, you're not loud. I didn't hear you a mile away. You're not cracking jokes, making us kick, 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 kick. No, I'm not a stereotype. I'm not portraying myself in that way because I'm naturally not that way. Now, I'm not saying if you're naturally that way, that's you, because everybody has different personalities. But it seems that many people are accustomed to black women being for their entertainment and not just being regular women. And I have to say it the way it is. Because in other cultures, you will not see the women being expected to perform. When you come in contact with people who are with another woman that is not a woman of color, they're treating her very gentle, very dainty, very, ladylike. And I've witnessed this in many situations. But when a black woman comes up, people feel like they can be more strong black womanish with her. No. Black women are deserving of that princess treatment too. We're deserving of that gentle, nurturing treatment too. And I think the reason why a lot of people don't automatically approach us that way is because of what they see pushed out into the forefront of these women that can do anything, can bear anything. And there's history behind that, where black women were actually used for different experimentation because they felt like black women felt no pain. And we're trying to get past that kind of thinking. We feel pain. We want to be treated as gentle. But we can't be treated that way if we still are portraying ourselves as not needing anybody, as being overly independent, as being just like men. It just won't work. All right? So I don't want this video to go too long, and I know this was a little bit heavier, but excuse me. But yeah, we just can't, we need to change the way we are perceived out in the world. And like I've said in many videos, we really can't shape how people perceive us, but we can do better at presenting ourselves in a way that doesn't make us appear like everybody else. And when you lean more into your femininity, since that is the one thing that is really lacking, I'm not talking about a feminine look, because there are a lot of feminine looking women. I'm talking about a woman who is truly divinely feminine. When you begin to get back to that, that's when I believe we will see things shift and women will become more comfortable just being women. Okay? Like and subscribe to the channel. Share this content. I appreciate all of you who are on this channel. I'm so glad that you are finding value in this channel, and I'm here to encourage and to inspire. I don't get a kick out of putting women down. Channels on YouTube of women who, I mean, there's whole channels devoted to bashing black women. And people who create channels like that, I feel like they have some kind of mental illness. If you can devote a whole channel to bashing black women, it's nuts. Because I'm not going to say that black women don't have their issues. We absolutely do. But all cultures have their issues, and I'm not against accountability, because I know that that is one thing that is lacking sometimes in the black community. We don't want to take accountability. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's a better way to address issues than setting up shop on how you can attack your own. Like that's kind of nuts. So when I speak, I'm talking to all women, but I'm a black woman, so of course I will sometimes speak in regards to our experience as black women, because I've lived it, I'm living it. Okay? Like and subscribe. My second live. Hit the like button. Take care.